It is first in the series of lectures that happen to be on civil services and its relationship with interview. That comprises the importance of interview, that comprises what the candidates need to have in themselves in order to qualify for the interview. That also comprises the do's and the don'ts, the common mistakes that the students going to commit, and also how is it that they can go to practice to prepare for the interview. The first session, of course, is going to be on the importance of interview for the civil services examination. Interview in civil services examination is known as personality test. Now, it may be debatable whether it should be called as personality test or not, or whether someone can go to test a personality, because some of the students who may not going to qualify for civil services, they can go to do much better than what they may have been in civil services. So, whether it actually tests a personality or not, and whether the measures adopted and whether the means and mechanism adopted have been significant enough in this case or not. However, the personality test is also known as interview for civil services, and it is the final step, penultimate step for the success in civil services examination. The interview done as a personality test is conducted to have a qualitative analysis of the candidate. Of course, the measurement is quantitative, but it is a qualitative analysis of a candidate, and to check the suitability of the candidate for a career in civil services, whether the candidate is suitable enough for a career in civil services or not. It's not about anything else other than only the suitability for the services. This interview comprises of 275 marks out of 2025 marks scheme of the UPSC civil services examination. The personality test is independent of the mains examination, where the mains examination doesn't play any role in deciding the course of interview. Of course, the marks are added in the final round and in the final merit list. So, prelims is not added, but mains plus interview, that is added to give a final, to prepare a final merit list in this case. Personality test is the most important facet for civil services examination because of a simple reason. That is, when the UPSC is certain that a candidate possesses, and that is the candidate concerned possesses some good administrative qualities, then the board gives them enough marks so that they qualify irrespective of their mains examination marks, and that they do not require the aid of the mains examination. This basically means that irrespective of the mains examination, the board tries to analyze the candidate's performance only on that day in 30 minutes of a time, whether the candidate can possess some amount of administrative qualities or not. And if the board is convinced of the fact that the candidates do go on to possess a very good administrative qualities, then they load the candidate with so much marks in the interview, that is, normally a marks that can be given can be something like 160, 170, 180, but they can go to give up till 220 to 30 marks, also at least 60, 70 marks normal than the average, so that they think that the candidate will not require the assistance of the mains examination in order to qualify in the final merit list. Now, that is where the significance of interview lies. And of course, the significance is largely because it is going to be talking about personality. Now, irrespective of everything, the personality part is very significant. Personality is about attitude, personality is about aptitude, personality is about thinking, personality is about carrying oneself, personality is about communication, personality is about wielding an aura, personality is about the way one can go to envision certain things, the way someone can go on to lead Personality is always going to be about how is it that someone can go on to build a social capital, how is it that someone can be innovative, and personality is all about whether they are fit enough for civil services examination or not. Let's accept this fact for everything, be it commanding, be it administration, be it being loved, be it being honest, be it being forthright, be it being manipulative of any situation, in any situation, be it being intelligent or wise, or be it or to be light or to be hilarious, everything has a personality. Everything requires a personality. Unusual as it may go on to seem like, all of these components are significant aspects for civil services examination. Why? Because maybe that you are in the board and you like to be loved in the board. Maybe that is your portrayal is in such a manner that despite being honest, you are not perceived as being honest. Despite being forthright, you are not perceived as being forthright. And maybe that you are not manipulative and you are thought of being manipulative. Maybe that you are not contradictory and you are thought of being contradictory. So ultimately, whether it goes on to be in services, whether it goes on to be inside the services, whether it goes on to be outside the services, even for the purpose of qualifying, and even in the services, even for the purpose of taking a ladder onto the top, that means climbing the ladder onto the top requires a personality. Let's accept this fact. For anything, everything that we go on to do in this world, it requires a personality. Knowledge is a small part of a personality. Attitude is a major part of a personality. Skill is a small part of personality. And you may have known it that the problem in India and with us is that we do going to be having some type of a skill. We don't going to be having an attitude, an aptitude that will go on to give us a large degree of employability. And that is largely because of attitude. The importance of interview in UPSC examination is because of many factors. The first is that it is aimed at assessing candidate's personality, whether he or she is suitable to be a competent administrator or not. Now let's accept it. Administration is a different ball game altogether. That's one part. It is not associated with being academic. Someone who can go on to be academic may not be an administrator, because an academician thinks in a different manner. Administrator thinks in a different manner. An academician have to be a genius. Administrator has to be intelligent. An intelligent person goes on to ask good questions. An academician goes on to have all the answers. Now that is where it is. And the purpose of administration is to coordinate. Coordination requires certain degree of knowledge, certain degree of coordination ability, certain degree of observational skills. It requires a certain degree of communication, and it requires, of course, a lot of use of technology and other components. Knowledge is one part that is already tested. So it is one of these components that is a personality that is tested as part of it. Second is the interview, the personality test evaluates not only the intellectual quality of the candidate but also awareness in contemporary events that are happening globally and nationally. By judging the presence of mind of the candidate, its mental awareness, more importantly the balance of perception, leadership qualities, moral intellectual traits, simplicity and honesty, all of them combined. We are going to be talking about everything. Now you may go on to feel how is it that certain aspects, certain traits like simplicity can be judged in just 30 minutes of a time. Now this is not our issue. We just have to be simple in this case. And simplicity means it is not having a different meaning in different places. Simplicity means that it goes on to having a different trait in different type or in different trait in the same type of places, by and large, or largely, if you go on to say it another way, similar type of trait in different places, to say it or paraphrasing it in a more proper manner. What you think, what you say, what you feel, or rather what you feel, what you think, what you say, and how do you going to respond, there must be a complete congruence between all of it. That is simplicity. And that is one of his achievements. Of course, that is honesty as well. We go on to be talking also about the moral intellectual traits as well. That is whether the person can go on to have deep knowledge about certain things. Moral, that means given a situation, maybe being cornered, is it that the person will go on to lose his trait? Is it that the person will go on to leave this entire world, entire family for the purpose of money and power, or maybe to satisfy his ego? Balance of perception, about balancing certain things in a manner that they don't going to have an extreme type of viewpoint with respect to anything. And leadership quality is generally going to be about if they are innovative, that is leadership. If they are helping, if they are having a helping attitude, that's leadership quality. If they are bold, that is a leadership quality. If they are strong, that is a leadership quality. If they go on to take initiative, that is a leadership quality. If they are very, very kind, that is a leadership quality. And you will observe that we have different type of leaders. Swami Vivekananda was one of them who talked about dasasya das, dason ka das, that is slaves of the slave. That was as per him a leadership quality, a major leadership quality. If you're going to be talking about Donald Trump, that is being bold is his leadership trait. Prime Minister Modi is different because he is one of the best coordinators and one of the best salesmen that we had in the country. That is a leadership trait. Mukesh Ambani is a leadership trait. Virat Kohli is a leadership trait. So you require a leadership trait, and you do not require it. Do not go on to obtain it in one single day. The third is to understand the administrative and problem-solving qualities of the candidate by conversation, not through examination. This is the third aim of the interview, whether a candidate is in a position to solve any problem or not. Given an administrative ticklish situation, is it that he can go on to get himself out of that situation or not? That is through conversation. Some people can go on to gauge this through conversation, and the ultimate aim of the civil services interview and personality test is to gauge the candidate's ability by conversation, not through any examination. The fourth is interview is intended to know about candidate's knowledge and interest not only in his specialized subject of academic study, but also in the event happening across him, whether he or she goes on to be having a reasonable degree of awareness on whatever that is happening around him in one manner. So when we are going to be talking about whether he or she can comprehend the nature of the problem through someone's and through their own observation. Maybe that they have not known a problem, but is it that they can go to comprehend a problem? Is it that they can go to foresee a problem brewing in that place? Is it that they can actually go on to see certain things happening in the future? Or is it that they going to see a solution? That is because they go on to meet a person for the first time, and if they go on to meet a person for the first time, then meeting a person for the first time will definitely have its own role to play. And it is only in one meeting possibly that they may have to gauge something about the person and the type of a problem that may be created because of the person, maybe because of the situation, maybe because of the event. So whether they can go on to comprehend the nature of the problem through someone or his or her observation. Is it that the candidates do have these qualities or not? The fifth is that it is done for the evaluation of the traits that are essential for being in civil services. For example, a positive attitude. Maybe that the situation is very bad. A train accident has taken place. The people are dying. There is no fund. There are no facilities in that place. You require to have a positive frame of mind. Not exactly that you go on to start sinking yourself, seeing the plight of the people. That's a positive attitude. Alertness of mind. How sharp you can go on to be in terms of decision making. That means whether you're going to be having a quick decision making power or not. Is it that you are free from any type of a prejudice or not in this case? That is, if you go on to be nurturing any type of a prejudice, it will go on to come in the way of a day-to-day administration. For you, everyone is the same. you are guided by Article 311, 312, and you have to adhere to the Constitution in this manner, not exactly that you to adhere to a personality. Now, most of the jobs in civil services happen to be pressure cooker situations, and it also tries to see the ability in the candidate to act in a stress situation and to handle difficult situations. So sometimes maybe the interviewer may going to give you a difficult situation and see whether you are able to get out of it or not, whether you're going to get put out by that, or whether you go on to actually go on to get disturbed by that, and whether you are able to have your senses, your conditions, your mindset balance in that place, and still you go on to find a solution. 6 is that it searches for the most suitable candidate. And what the candidate must go on to have? One is willingness to acquire and learn new things. Because in administration, every day will be a new day, every day will be a learning day, every day you're going to meet an amazing variety of people and you're going to learn. Every day you're going to meet amazing variety of situations. Now, if you don't have this aptitude to learn, let's say the question is, what happens if if the willingness is not present? What will happen is that you will going to become a stereotype. For every situation, we'll going to use a similar type of management technique, and this will go on to collapse. Of course, there are civil servants who go on to allow administration to be maladministered, and the majority of them are of such type only. The country is poor not because of the politicians, it is poor because of the bureaucrats. But then you require to have a quality that is a willingness to learn new things, a willingness to acquire new things, because unless you are open to innovation, there is absolutely no way that you can go on to find yourself fitted in that condition. Of course, the future of the bureaucracy as it happens right now is not going to be the same. It is going to be completely different. Second is whether you are open to new ideas, especially in administrative arena. Now we can go to say that in a different manner. That is, a closed mind is not capable of administration because you require a lot of fresh air in yourself to think in a different manner, to act in a different manner, and also to move in a defined direction. So closed mind is not capable of administration. That's why we're going to say that all the closed minds generally go on to think in a same manner. They have a similarity. There is a great degree of a homogeneity in their thinking by and large. Closed mind means that is, you're not amenable to suggestions, you're not amenable to experimentation. A closed mind means you're not able to be in a position to experiment new things. Now, experimenting with new things also goes on to mean that you may go on to commit mistakes. But because you're likely to commit mistakes, this does not mean that you will not experiment at all. Precisely because of this reason, that is, candidates must be open to new ideas, especially in administrative arena. Coaching-ready candidates and high-age candidates. That means people who have been tuned by the coaching institutes and those candidates who go on to be having a high age on their high side, they are generally not considered. Now, maybe the UPSC doesn't going to be having a mechanism to know whether you have actually been coached or not. But coaching constructs your mind. It's not education. Coaching is not education. Coaching is not teaching. Coaching is not being mentoring. Coaching is not. Coaching is just a slightly above aspect of training. And anyone who has undergone coaching, they may or may not go on to acquire an inflexible mindset. Thus, one of those thinkings that are pervasive in the minds of the UPSC board people. Third is the flexibility of approach to any situation. Inflexibility can go on to lead to major goof-ups, blunders, loss of opportunity, loss of maybe magnifying the problem. As we can go to say, let's say we're going to take one situation that is, as it's the saying is, a stitch in time saves 9. Now, whether the cloth has got itself torn and it requires one single stitch, you're not flexible to that. Because you're not flexible to that, We're going to see that we're going to see when the situation arises. Maybe it will going to lead to a major goof up. It will be leading to a major magnification of the problem. It requires a flexibility to know and understand that if there is a problem, it must be solved there and then right there itself. Fourth is positive attitude on national, societal, environmental and development issues. One need not be forcibly positive. We are not saying that anyone has to be forcibly positive in this case. What we are only saying is that we be required to be positive in the sense that is every problem presents an opportunity. It's like we can go to say another way. That is, when your mind is weak, every situation is a problem. When your mind is balanced, every situation is a challenge. When your mind is strong, every problem is an opportunity. Now that's what we are looking for. That is positive attitude on national, societal, environmental and developmental issues. So you require to be positive in nature. And when we're going to say that you require to be positive in nature, that means you can go to think of finding a solution to each of these aspects and take advantage of that situation. As it is in civil services, there are no failures, there are only opportunities. Fifth is willingness to look for out-of-box solution. We say the world is changing, India is changing. Conventional beaten solutions are no more effective. Solutions are not present also, and they have to be carved out of some new variables which are affecting the society. The factors that are affecting the society right now were not the same factors that were affecting it some time back. The factors that are affecting administration, they are also not the same. The factors that are affecting your mindset and solutional aspects are also not the same. This is largely because, just imagine some time back there was no mobile, now it's a mobile, it opens avenues and it goes on to create a problem as well. There was no internet some time back, so at a point when there was no internet and now we have internet, it opens an avenues and it does go on to create a problem. Some time back there were a lot of people who were not literate, who were not degree holders. Now you're going to provide degree to the people but without education. So an engineer who has a degree but hasn't got a education, it's not educated, he can go on to become a lethal weapon in the hands of the terrorists because he hasn't got values. He can use his engineering degree for the purpose of creating a trouble for the country which may have nurtured him. Since these variables have changed, of-it solutions are the norm. That means one has to think out of the box. And in general, it is the youth, it is you who are in a position to think out of the box. So it is this off-bit solution that is going to be norm right now. And most of these candidates are looked for off-bit type of solutions in this case. Whether they can go on to provide such type of solutions, they can actually go on to think of carving some new solutions out of something of a situation in that place or not. Now, having understood that part, we do go on to say that interview is definitely the most important stage of preparation. It is more important than any stage of preparation, and it is one of these stages that must be prepared first also. Now consider this part. An athlete trains for 10 years in life. He starts training from maybe 10 years of age and then keeps on training for about 20 years. He trains for 10 hours a day, trains for 6 days a week, sacrifices his or her taste for tasty food because he is on boiled food. He focuses so much that he is completely oblivious of the entire of the world. The aim of the athlete is to win one race, a race that lasts only for 10 seconds. Only for 10 seconds. Maybe an athlete is a badminton player and that goes on to last only for 2 hours. So a race that lasts for 10 meters, only 100 meters, a race that lasts for 100 meters, and a rally in badminton that lasts for only 2 hours. So, whether you're going to consider that a race is to win only within 10 seconds, that entire preparation of the life goes on to get self-confined within these 10 seconds of glory. It is only for these 10 seconds that test the preparation of the candidate. It is this final 10 seconds that tests whether he or she has put his or her efforts behind and how much sincerity one has devoted to prepare for these 10 seconds. In reality, it is this 10 seconds that makes or mars the dream. It is these 2 hours in a rally in a badminton championship that makes or mars it. This is what the athletes crave for. This is what the athletes look for. Translated into civil services. In civil services, it's the personality test of 30 minutes for which the candidate has prepared himself for all those years. It is the final 30 minutes that makes or mars the candidate's future and his dreams. This is the same situation that the student faces in his 30 minutes of interview, where his entire of life's learning, entire of whatever that he has learned in his 20-25 years of time is subject to test. So whether anyone is appearing for the prelims examination or mains examination, it is only towards the end that finishing matters the most. And it is this finishing that is what his interview is all about. So your entire of 25 years of effort is going to be put to test in this case. For the past few years, scoring in the mains examination has dropped very low, and because of this factor, the importance of interview has increased manifold in this case. It is not only deciding whether you get into the services, but it also is important what are the type of services that you are allocated. To be casual for the interview means one is anything but wise. To be careless means one thinks anything, anyone but insincere. To be arrogantly dismissive of it is if its importance and preparation means that he or she is fool of the highest category. Imagine the personality test is only for 30 minutes, not of 3 hours, as the normal examination papers are of that duration. This personality test effectively requires a slight molding in your attitude, a slight molding in the way that you're going to think, a slight refinement of one's approach, so that you start practicing it almost every day. To be able to deal with a personality test and to get marks in the test actually requires much less effort than preparing for a whole paper. Preparing for any paper in civil services and the dividend it gives in terms is much more value loaded. Is much more easy to score in personality test in comparison to that of the papers. It's sad that the students, despite having known this significance, ignore that test and going to take it casually, and it is this casual picking up that can be called anything but wisdom. It can be anything it is not rationality. It can be anything, but that is not foresightedness. There is no other test in the entire India. It is in the entire country that is as crucial as these 30 minutes of interview. And there is no test towards which the approach of the aspirants is as casual as is this one. The personality test of UPSC is the most predictable test, as one knows the value of doing well and the results that are commensurate to it. It's not like your essay paper. It's not like your ethics paper, where there are a lot of things that are not predictable. You know when you have done well, you know whether you have been able to connect yourself with the eyes of the board or not. And because you're going to know that, that's why it is significant that it is very, very significant that you are bound to do well, because a lot of aspects, a lot of variables in this case are very, very, very predictable. The same does not go on to hold correct for the mains. The entire combination of mains and interview must be dealt with equal sincerity, of course. And the entire effort of qualifying prelims and mains is coming to naught if the personality test is not up to the mark. If you goof up personality test, you don't going to get a second chance. And even if you're going to get it, you have to go through the entire of the procedure of preparing. And that is a real torture. So there is no second chance that the candidate is going to get and in the same combination. Maybe a candidate can going to do well in PT, not in the mains. Maybe they're going to do well in the mains, but they may not going to do well in the interview. Maybe that they have not been balanced enough. In this case, they have not been a proper mood. Maybe they have not been a proper health. Anything can go on to go wrong in 1.5 years of a time. So anything goes wrong and the stage goes back to zero. The only thing that can go to retrieve the situation from here is going to be the personality test. The interview may carry on for 20 minutes, 30 minutes or an hour, but generally takes 35 minutes to finish it, and it passes by the blink of the eye. You will not go to imagine that this type of a phenomena has taken place in your life, because you don't go to think of anything else within these 35 minutes. It's like facing a God, facing a deity. It's like seeing God in self, and it's like getting yourself blessed by the board. That is, they are your gods of that day. Most of these aspirants are of the view that there is no need to prepare for the interview, as they are already ready and they would be successful. And they sometimes going to take it for granted. Now that is arrogance, that is ignorance, that is greed, that's foolishness, and above all, a gross injustice to oneself. Personality test preparation must be the first step in the preparation for civil services examination, and this is how one must go to start. And of course, if they not have started, then they must go to start just after the mains examination.